Now let's talk about a very important point in delivering web applications, which is HTTPS. So if we click here on our PathHub app, you can see that the browser indicates that this connection is secure and the traffic is being served using HTTPS. So we can do that by using any domain. I have here a registered domain, which is theaws25.com. And for this app, I'll be using a subdomain, and we're going to see how to create all of that using CDK. So the idea is to have a certificate for our app. You can see I have it here for both the root domain name, pathhub.mydomain, which is the AWS25, and also a wildcard certificate. So this is valid for any subdomain under pathhub.theaws25.com. So this is a bit of design, so you can use it like that, or no, I like to use wildcard domains and have blue, green, other environments perhaps, but you can do this in many different ways. And in the end, our intention is that the load balancer that we create will have the HTTPS forwarding to the same cluster and the same compute we've been using, but pointing to the certificate that we created. So for that, here in our CDK code, in the first change is I'm making two separate projects now. One project I'll call the tenant level and the other the canary level. So those names can be different in your organization. So perhaps you call environment or a domain or a realm or whatever it is. But the idea is that on the tenant level, I will have the data and this concept of shared information across tenants. So if I have a blue and green environment, for example, they will be accessing the same VPC, the same database, the same everything. And on top of this tenancy, I can add environments. I don't like calling it environment because so many things are already called environments. Some people call it environment, some people call it canary, some people call it colors, anything. So here's where I have the ECS stack and the actual compute. So in the DNS zone, it's pretty simple. Just create a public hosted zone on the service, the Route 53 service. And I'm using SSM parameter store. The secrets manager is a bit expensive, so I avoid using secrets manager for things that don't need rotation and things like that. So for IDs and this kind of parameter. So there we will see the zone ID, the public subnet ID, every ID that's generated, I set in SSM. And the interesting thing is creating it separately. So in the main file here in bin, we can see that those are created one after another. So first, I'll create the DNS stack with all the zone information, and then the delegation set, which simply creates the name service record we need here to delegate this zone. So for this zone to actually work, I have to take these name servers that you see here and set on the delegation record on the parent zone. So here on the root zone, we can see that there is an NS record created through that CDK code with our name servers. And that's as simple as that. With that, we have our certification stack. again, the ACM certificate is here, and a very simple declaration. Let me open it wider on ACM cert. Just create the certificate, and like everything, pushing the ID, the generated resource name, to the SSM parameter. And again, on every service, we can see that, for example, here in the SSM parameter for private subnet IDs, you can see the IDs that were generated for that service. And once everything is created, so I need 2 CDK deploys now, one deploy for the tenant level, which will deploy all those stacks, and for the service itself, I can deploy, again, several copies, variations of this service. It's just an ECS cluster with our container definition, the image, the port, the CPU, the memory, and everything we need for the container to run. Here I'm using a very minimal container, just the minimal things it needs to run. And the load balancer is also defined here, and the listener for the load balancer. So that's what's going to create our HTTPS listener, right? And using the certificate from the previous stack. And finally, in the ALB alias, I'm just creating the domain name on the given hosted zone for the load balancer. So this will, in the Route 53 domain, in our hosted zone for the service, generate this final binding, which is the record that associates our domain name with the load balancer value. With that, we can use, I'll just refresh here, our web application securely, knowing that it will be on HTTPS as expected, so there's no risk of this data being carried or inspected in transit. Everything is encrypted and secure for our customers. And that's it for today. If you are interested in building infrastructure as code with CDK or with Terraform or CloudFormation or Pulumi, whatever you'd like, remember that at newone.com we have these videos here on YouTube. We have several workshops and also one-to-one mentoring if that's something you'd like to do with us. Schedule your chat, let's talk, and let us know how we can help you in your project and success. See you.